So glad that you guys are here. Hey, this is Kids Baking Club. This is for you. This is for kids and parents to learn the art of baking. Are you guys ready and excited? This is one of my all-time favorite recipes because I learned this when I was a little girl. My grandmother, who came from Italy, actually when she was 5 years old, she was put on a boat and was brought to New York Harbor and was adopted by an Italian family. And she learned to love baking from her mom and grandma, and then she passed it on to me. And one of the recipes that she taught me as a little girl was how to make pizza crust, but also some other things, because I'm going to show you today how you not only can make a most amazing pizza crust, the kind that you get at Italian restaurants, but I'm going to show you how to use that pizza crust to make garlic twists. You know that bread that they bring to you, you know, in an Italian restaurant. Where's that one place called? Olive Garden, where they bring the garlic bread to your table and it's so good, it's so fresh, it's the best one. It just came out of the oven. It's so good. So I'm going to show you this pizza crust recipe today. I hope that you use it for your rest of your life. I think you're going to love it and you're going to keep using it. It's so many easy ingredients. You probably already have them in your kitchen. Okay, this recipe will actually be on our blog. Just go ahead to kidsbakingclub.com, click the blog up there, and you'll get the printable recipe and you can just print it off your computer. Are you guys ready to get started? Yay! Okay. Few tricks of the trade. These are the things my grandma taught me, and you really have to know what they are in order to make the best pizza crust ever, okay? So the first is that you want to start with 1 cup of warm water. So what I did was you can either use tap water and get it warm, or make it so you save some water. Just fill your cup up to 1 cup and then put it in the microwave for about 20 seconds to get warm. Do not get hot water. Hot water will actually burn the yeast and it won't work. So you're just gonna pour that into a bowl. Now let's talk about yeast, because pizza crust is a yeast bread. And yeast breads are the ones that really puff up, you know, the kind that you get at the restaurants, you know, when they bring you bread. And different than the biscuits that we made the other day. The other day, delicious, but they did not have yeast in them. So yeast is actually a one-cell organism. This is a science thing, and it actually just grows everywhere. But the way that they make it so that we can use it in food is they actually make it into like a cream. They take these organisms, they make it into a cream, and then they dry it out. And you can either buy blocks of yeast or you can buy the dry yeast, which this is. And I always buy the rapid rise active yeast because I don't have a lot of time when I'm making pizza. If you're making bread, you might want to buy the regular yeast, but make sure it says rapid rise. This one comes in, there's 3 teaspoons in these little packets. These are perfect too. So I'm just going to take 3 teaspoons with my 1 cup of water. And this was the trick that my grandma taught me. She said, don't dump the yeast. Don't dump it. She said, sprinkle it like it's raining on top of the water. Just sprinkle it on. And what this does is it stops it from clumping. You don't want clumpy yeast. Okay, so that's 1. And 2. It's kind of fun to see it, actually, dancing on top of the water. And then I'm going to show you something that also my grandma taught me that gets the yeast started working really fast. So what she said is you take about 3 teaspoons of sugar, which is 3 teaspoons, and you dance that on top of the yeast. So you're just going to dance it on top, sprinkle, sprinkle, and what you'll see is it starting to work. It makes it work faster. Okay? Now the other thing she said is never put metal into yeast. There's something that makes a reaction. So always use either a plastic, silicone, or a wooden spoon. You're just gonna stir it just a little bit. Kind of get all the nooks and crannies of the yeast going. And what happens is it kind of starts like a science experiment. it starts to grow. It's really cool. So this is what I just did, but do you see this? This is what I made a little while ago. This took 20 minutes. It's already active. Do you see it bubbling over? If I let this sit for a long time, it might go over. So then what you're gonna do, while you're letting your yeast sit, you take 2.5 cups of flour and put that into a bowl. You can make whole wheat pizza dough as well. So you could use whole wheat flour as well. And you're just gonna make a little bit of a well, and then you're going to sprinkle in 1/2 teaspoon of flour. And just stir that up just a little bit. So after 20 minutes, you're gonna take that yeast that you made and you're gonna pour it into the middle of the bowl. Now we don't have 20 minutes, so I did this ahead of time. So I'm gonna take my active yeast and carefully pour that into the bowl. And you can already see it bubbling, it's so cool. And then you're gonna take 1 tablespoon of oil. You can use olive oil, canola oil, vegetable oil, and that's just gonna give it a little bit of moisture. And this is the fun part. You're just gonna go ahead and stir it. Now, when it gets a little bit tougher, you can actually put it on a flour board, board like this, and have the kids play with it to kind of get it started to knead, which is kind of fun. So you're just gonna stir. This is where you wanna think, like, what do I want on my pizza? Let's see, you could do, well, most often people use marinara sauce or pizza sauce, right? Pizza sauce is just a thicker marinara sauce. I actually always buy the marinara sauce. And then you're gonna think about what kind of cheese you wanna put on it. Most often it's mozzarella. And then your toppings, like what would you want it? Do you want pineapple? Do you want sausage, pepperoni? There's all kinds of things that you can actually use. All right, so now I'm going to just take this off and use my hands a little bit and get the dough nice and worked well. Now this dough then has to go into a warm place and covered with a towel. You're going to let that little sit. So I'm going to set this to the side because I did this ahead of time because I know we don't have, you know, an hour to let it sit. So I went ahead and covered it with a towel, and you can see how much it has risen already. Now this is where you're going to make it into crust. So I've got a little bit of flour here because we can either make it one big crust or a little mini crust for to make mini pizzas, or what I'm going to show you today is how to make garlic twists. So what you do is you just take your dough and you're just going to kind of knead it a little bit with the flour. This is really fun. Just knead it a little bit, and then you're just going to kind of bring it out. If it's real sticky, go ahead and put some flour on your hands. And you're just going to kind of lay it out. You're going to take a 1/2 stick of butter and melt it, soften it in the microwave for about 10 seconds, just so it's soft. It doesn't have to be completely melted. So you're just going to keep laying it out. If you want, you can use a rolling pin. That would be fun. All right, so I've got it all here. It kind of looks like a square a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit more flour. If you don't want to use flour, you can use cornmeal. It's kind of what they do in the Italian restaurants. Okay, so you're going to take your 1/2 stick of butter, and then however much you want your garlic. So I love garlic, so I'm going to add almost a tablespoon, and then I'm going to stir that up nice and yummy. What I'm going to do is take like a pizza cutter and just cut in strips, just little strips. Make it fun. If you don't have a pizza cutter, you can just use a knife. And then what you do with the strips is you pick them up and you kind of make a twist like that, and then you put them on a baking sheet. So just do a little bit of a twist like that and put it on the baking sheet. And then what you're going to do is cover this with a towel for about 20 minutes. And then what's going to happen is it's going to rise just a little bit more. Go ahead and put it in a 350-degree oven and bake it for about 10 to 12 minutes. And, oh, I forgot to tell you, you have to put the garlic butter on it. So what you do is you take a pastry brush and you actually go ahead and just dab all over your twists. And then you're gonna bake it in the oven at 350 degrees for about 10 to 12 minutes. And this makes those amazing garlic twists that you see in the restaurants. And they're so, so good. Isn't that fun? So have some fun with this. Once you know this recipe, you can make so many different things. Dinner rolls, your pizza twist, you can make cinnamon rolls, cinnamon twists, and of course your favorite thing ever is pizza. All right, thanks for joining me today. We will see you next time. Remember, I come every Tuesday and Thursday. You're learning with kids right now. We want to get kids in the kitchen. We want them having fun at home, learning, but making it fun. All right, thanks for joining me today. We'll see you soon.